Hello modulators out there. We are now looking at the SuperMod Workstation by Keeley. We'll look through some of the control-y things, and then we'll try to look at what this thing does. There's a lot of stuff in there in a very straightforward user interface. So, there. The pedal is about this big. You can clearly see that's the same size. So it is a rather compact pedal, which is one of the whole features. The feature set is small, compact, packing a lot of options, possibly for like a little fly rig kind of a thing. So on the back, we have quite a few ins and outs. We have the pluggy things, that's what I'm talking about. Input, we have an input for expression, which will guide everything on modulation 2. So anything in this upper row, all the effects can be controlled, or at the morph or depth, I don't know, one of those can be back to expression. What does expression control? Wait. Controls rate. Okay, it controls rate on bank 2 and tap, either the built-in tap or an external tap will control rate on modulation 1. Where was my camera that I'm looking into? I think it's this one. I'm confused. Then we have stereo and mono. Same thing on the delay workstation. Now don't appreciate this very much. It's a little bit confusing. Because when I hear stereo and delay, I think bing, bing, ding, 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 ding. When I hear stereo and modulation, I'm feeling swooshy, 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 or rotary, whoa, 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 whoa. No. What it is the mono out is mirrored to the stereo out. So it's the same thing. So it's dual mono. Internally, you can jump it or switch it to have the stereo out be a dry signal. So it's wet, dry, not stereo. Very important to realize if you're buying this for an actual stereo setup. You can do wet dry, you cannot do whooshy, 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 whooshy. And that's it. Both banks function the same way. 2 is controllable with expression pedal. We're not going to show this because all it does is this is being controlled with your foot. Bank number 1 is controllable with tap for rate. There we go. You have level, rate, depth. Pretty clear what they do. This is how fast it goes, whooshy, whooshy, whooshy. This is how deep it goes, whooshy, 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 you know? And then morph does something different on every single setting. We'll go into this. Now, how do you know which number is what sound? Bank 1, sound 4. What is that? Well, if you place it on your pedal board so that there's not just a pedal right here at the bottom, but you have a little bit of space, you can actually read what's here. Well, not what's here because there's nothing here. But what's here? Right there. It is a little bit confusing to me that 1 is on the right and 2 is on the left. Also that on the pedal, 1 is at the bottom and 2 is on top. It's goes a little bit against how I would think. 1 top, 2 bottom, 1 left, 2 right. I don't know. But who knows? Then again, the Japanese read upside down or something, and in Arabic you need right to left. So I don't know. Who knows? Maybe Robert Keeley is studying that. So, right to left. You see the 8 different modes right here. You see tap, mode 1. You see the 8 different modes for bank 2 right there. So the interesting thing is that you see certain modes doubled. Like the harmonic trem is in 2 and the harmonic trem is in 1 here. Well, wouldn't it be easier to just remember harmonic trem on both sides, on 1 and 2, is in 1? And, you know, the phaser, which happens to be on both, is always in 2 or in 4. So having to memorize that is kind of weird. But okay, now why do we have them times 2? Well, if you want to use a digital delay with a harmonic tremolo, you do digital delay here and harmonic trem here. Or the other way around, you could actually do harmonic trem here and digital delay here. So it's for different combinations, but also the morph knob does different things on the harmonic tremolo in mode 1 than it does on harmonic tremolo in mode 2, which is kind of neat if you know this and if you can memorize it. So this is how you kind of find out what's going on. You read this thing, set it up here, and then also you go online or into the manual and you look at the cheat sheet that I'm gonna have. This, by the way, this is where I am right now, up here. Yeah. Just a little game I play with Leslie. She's on top of it. So I'm gonna call up my cheat sheet here, where I see the different modes and what the knobs do. Like rate doesn't always do rate. On the digital delay, this is tough to say digital delay, the rate does feedback. What? Digital delay, rate does feedback. Depth does delay time. How does that make sense? What? Rate is a time knob, but rate does feedback, yet depth does delay time? They must have made a mistake there. Where's my coffee, by the way? Okay, I can already see that we're gonna be here for a while because we're gonna have to figure this out. We're gonna have to see if this is a misprint in the manual or a really messed up way to confuse the guitar player by making the rate knob the feedback and the depth the delay time. Depth for me, if anything, would be feedback. So, damn it, I don't have Robert on Skype right now because I would love to pick his brain about what is going on there. Doesn't matter as long as you have a way to remember that. Hello. So it is Sunday, days after I filmed what you've just seen and what you will see. And this whole confusion with routing something and also the little problem in the manual where it's saying what the morph knob does, that's no biggie. We know it now, so just, you know on a harmonic trem that morph does tone, not wave shape. But I was trying to find out from Robert Keeley what just puzzled me in the video, which is why does rate control feedback on the delays and depth controls delay time? It makes no sense. Ha! It does. It makes sense for mod 2. So for the second one, which is controlled by an expression pedal, what would you rather control? Would you rather control your feedback, whoa, how much delay there is, or your delay time for wee-oo sounds? It makes more sense that the expression pedal controls your feedback. That means that expression, which is always routed to rate, controls the feedback. So instead of doing depth feedback and rate delay time, they did, yeah, Robert, I'm here. Talking to him on Facebook. So rate in this case controls feedback so that it is controllable by the expression pedal. Makes total sense. Now, does it make sense on mod 1? No, it doesn't, but they just kept it the same. So rate is feedback, depth is... Stop it, Robert. So depth is delay time. Well, it could have gone really wrong if tap on the delays would still go to rate. Can you follow me? Because then you would, by tapping, not control your tempo, but control your feedback. Of course, they're not stupid. They did it correctly. Tap is routed on the delay settings to depth, meaning it is actually controlling the tempo. I probably lost you 3 minutes ago. It's all good. It makes sense. Now, I also asked him why isn't harmonic trem in 1 on mode 2 and also in 1 on mode 1, so that it's always the similar ones, or the same ones, phaser and whatever, are in the same positions. He said they made the order of the effects by complexity. But complexity that makes sense to them. So we would think of a harmonic trem to be more complex than a phaser, I would, or more complex than a chorus. They might look at the algorithm that had to be programmed and the complexity of that. So it's not something that we can understand, it's something they understand. And he said, yeah, they should have probably been in the same positions. Robert Keeley's a cool guy. So we just chatted about all of this and we're good. Back to me being confused about it. And then on the... Oh, that makes sense. On the reverbs, the rate is the decay time and depth is control, morph is reverb level. And then level is the overall level. Complicated. But anyway, if you have it down, you can go right there without any menus, go bloop, 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 bloop. But of course, in a menu, you would read what the parameter does. Here, it's either memory or just use your ear, which is always a good idea. Or have that little cheat sheet that I'm looking at online in your pocket or on your board or something. The benefit is direct access, no menus, and very small footprint. And good sounds. Now, since it also has delays and reverbs, this can really function as your get this thing, put a tone workstation next to it, and have a really small fly rig that can cover a lot of stuff. So, yeah, as a all-in-one box that's more than just modulation, this could be really cool for a lot of situations. For me, primarily putting it on the table where it is right now in a studio situation. Because it doesn't have MIDI, it doesn't have programs, it doesn't have recallability, which means what I set up, that's where my pedal is. I can, turn them on and off, that's all good. But that's where it is. If I, for the next song, want a different setup, I'm gonna have to go live, bend down, remember all the settings, and set it up. How well that would work in a live situation is questionable, but I don't necessarily see its strength in that setting. I see its strength in the put it on the table in a studio situation and have a lot of stuff with you in a very small footprint. Or have two great sounds set up live. But that's what we're getting to now. Sorry for all the rambling. The 2 or 4 or 7 great sounds. So I'm going into the Morgan AC20 right now. And we'll also have a what's that thing called? A Dirty Shirley by Friedman turned on. So the Morgan right now, that's that black thing with a big M. Very AC30-ish, just in 40 and betterer. And also more expensive. And the Dirty Shirley sounds like so. I have that on like a medium gain thing. If we want to see how the modulation works before the drive. Of course, modulation can be before or after. Very hefty British kind of sound. And we go back. Oh, I had that boosted because this guitar boosts. Oh, this guitar is a Man Valentine. Kind of a weird, simple axe, but also awesome. And especially in that middle section here, middle position. Or single coil. For crystal clean sounds, which is what we need. So let's step through it. As we go to the side again, so we see what we're doing, we're going to start with 1, 1. And that's a tremolo. According to my chart, the morph does wave shape. So yes, up to the stutter sounds, it's all there, relatively easy to dial in. And remembering that it's wave shape is relatively simple. Mode number 2 would be the harmonic trem, which is something that I love, which is a tremolo that has a little bit of swooshy swooshy in it. So third one is filter / wah, which is very cool. So we have again wave shape, and depth does Q. So now it's a relatively wide filter. But it's rich and fucking cool. So if I now get more Q, it should be a spikier wah. Wahoo! Nice. It's not a touch wah, it's a continuously autoing wah. Let's put that in front of the Dirty Shirley. Absolutely enough to get some wah-ishness happening. Now, if I change the wave shape, we definitely have filtery sounds. Really deep Q. Cool. Moving on to, what is it? Phaser. That should be relatively straightforward. And we have rate, depth, and feedback. Put that all in the middle. Moving on to, what is that? ADT, automated double tracking, which is kind of what the 30 milliseconds double tracker does. We have pitch, delay time, and blend. So let's blend it quite a bit. Just makes your signal wider and more gooder. Or as my friend from the Shy Boys would say, it makes the guitar sound different than it sounded before. Shy Boys. Good reviews, let's put it that way. Moving on to Rotary, my favorite! And here we have rate depth and horn drum blend. Definitely one of the best mono Leslie simulations that I've heard, period. But of course I don't need a Leslie simulator because I have the real thing right next door. And sometimes she does that, you know, just like a Leslie. If the picture now goes black, you know what happened. Actually, she could do that if she switched to the Dirty Shirley cat. Yeah. As I said, why do I even give her the idea? You know I love you, right? But with her, I can't tap the speed. Here, I can slow it down if I want to. Love that sound. Moving on to digital delay, which let's figure this out if it's actually true. So we should have feedback. So yes, that actually is what's happening. Rate is feedback and depth is delay time. Up to 950 milliseconds makes no sense to me. Sorry to say that. But it's a cool digital delay. And then we have an analog delay. With the same thing. it freaking works. Moving on to harmonic trem over here. Well, same thing, except for everything is actually the same. Phaser, everything is actually the same. So whatever's on bank 1 is the same on bank 2. They're just in different positions, which again is weird. Phaser. Phaser. Same thing. We have a chorus vibrato, which is only on bank 2. That's sweet. Flanger, which we only have, or flunger, which we only have on bank 2. With feedback on the morph knob. That's a nice flunger. Moving on to rotary, we've already heard that, same thing. We're gonna try double rotary in a bit. Moving on to digital delay. Of course, depth this time. Why wouldn't it be? Hall. Is actually very, very nice. Shorter and less. It's a nice reverb, and then we have plate, which is a nice reverb. Very neat. I'm gonna go put some analog delay on that. What am I playing? Those are nice sounds. Just, it's fun. There's some grit in it. It doesn't feel all digital and pristine. It feels gritty and alive. So of course now we can do combinations. So it would be cool if I could just say, oh, rotary, that's my 6, so do a 6 and 6 and I got 2 rotaries. No! I gotta do 5 and 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. And of course I can do a slow one here, a fast one here. And now we double rotary. That's kind of cool, and we're gonna put that in the Dirty Shirty. Why not? All of a sudden, we have some kind of fuzzesquitude, which is absolutely not what I predicted, but it's cool. So I think there's a lot of really cool combinations. Let's combine the harmonic tremolo with a rotary. No, I messed up my guitar. What else can we do? Of course, a standard digital delay, which is 7 into a hall. Shorter hall. Careful with the level. Delay in the chorus. Why am I playing A? The distortion is, I was actually pushing it a little bit much. and so on. There is a lot you can do. So what do I think? First of all, I think Leslie should make this bigger. Wait, anyone else? Anyone else? Thank you. Thank you, Leslie. Okay. I think the idea to split it between tap controllable and expression controllable is cool because it's very easy to grasp. And of course, both of them do rate. Easy to grasp. Being able to remember the whole cheat sheet of what morph does and when rate isn't rate, but when rate is feedback, but depth is actually time. Yes, you can, as they say. You can remember this and memorize it, but it will mean you have to spend real time with it. I don't think that it's necessarily intuitive the way that this is done. And I am seriously, I'm sorry to say this, messed up by, actually wait, no, I'm thinking mod 1, mod 2. It goes pedalboard style. Pedalboards go from right to left. Robert Keeley is not messed up in the head. He thinks like a guitar player. Pedalboard, right to left, 1 into 2, instead of how we read. So no, he's not learning Arabic. He thinks like a guitar player. Now, I don't like the mono stereo labeling because it's actually wet dry if you set it up this way. It's either mono, dual mono, same signal, or wet dry. It should be labeled as such, not stereo. For me, stereo is actually going whooshy, 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 whooshy. Or bingy, 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 bingy. That's not what it's doing. I think sounds are beautiful. Are there the sounds you can get from a Strymon? No, they're different. Are there the sounds you can get from the new Boss MD500? Oh, they're different. What's the benefit of having this? Well, there's one clear benefit, and that is size. Let me illustrate. This is the size of the Mod Workstation. This is the size of the Mobius. This is how you would do that. Okay? Very, very big difference. This is the MD500. What's the DD500? I don't have an MD500, but that's the size of it. Okay? Pretty big difference. So yes, pedalboard space, big issue. But this only does modulation sounds. Now, if you need a kind of an all-in-one jack-of-all-trades Swiss Army knife pedal, the SuperMod Workstation beats this hands down. Because with the delays and the reverbs, and being able to do 2 at the time, depending on, and you have to be a little bit creative, either delays into reverb, or delays into harmonic tremolo, or harmonic tremolo into, you get the idea, you saw the chart on the side. You can't do this with this. Price-wise, this is more expensive than the Mod Workstation. Mod Workstation is roughly in the price point where this is. At least in Europe. I know in the US, Mod Workstation is $300. This is a little bit over. In Germany, they're roughly the same. Not this. I mean, we're talking about the MD500. So, size, big issue. No menus, no presets, no digging through tons of parameters. Everything you want is right here. That is a pro and it is a con. It limits it to a 3-knob control scheme, so 3 parameters are at your fingertips, one of which you have to learn what it is, whereas in these, as soon as I turn parameter 1 or parameter 2, I see which one it is, even if I can't remember anymore, the display will jump to it. Same here, big display, I turn something and it shows me what I'm manipulating. So no, you don't have to learn these by heart, which you have to do with the Mod Workstation. So, ease of use and quick access, a pro, that limits you in terms of how much you can control. You have to decide for yourself which one is the one you want. Now, the Boss and the Strymon and other similar pedals have MIDI and banks and presets. So whatever you do, you have a lot of sounds that are recallable in a live situation. I've played with this live, and my looper switcher was just calling up the presets for each song part. With the SuperMod workstation, you can't do that, which means whatever you dial in is what you dial in. Now, whether or not some of you, please comment on that, would go down on your pedal board, get it? And change the settings in between songs. Kind of like, I know exactly what I want to tap, 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 ding, ding, ding. That's up for you to decide, because I don't think you would. On the other hand, what I love about this, throw it in your gig bag, because it is small enough to do that, and have it ready in a studio situation. Have it ready in the practice room just to play as a songwriting, sound sculpting tool. It's great. And maybe you just need, for that one gig, the chorus and the reverb. No, you can't do that. The tremolo and the reverb. And you're good. And you just have it set up on those two. So it can be 2 at a time per gig, unless you want to fiddle with it in between. Having it on the table in a studio, none of that stuff matters. You set up a sound, you're like, okay, cool. Moving on, next part, set up a sound, moving on, cool. So in that regard, the non-programmability or the non-presetability is not a drawback. So it is definitely in a league of its own in terms of the size. That one too. Review on my channel, Tone Workstation. And it's just a different approach to multi-effect. The inclusion of great reverbs and great delays make it more than its competition. Its competition, of course, is stereo and MIDI and all that stuff. But you know what? A lot of us, we don't care about that. Just, we like the direct access. You heard it, you know the pros and cons. You decide for yourself, please comment. I think if you don't need the instant recallability of presets, Tone Workstation doesn't use up a lot of pedal board space, runs on 9 volt, and is a solid pedal by Mr. Keeley. What else can I say? I can say animals at the end. I can say thanks to Leslie, and see you on the proverbial flippity flop.
I've been waiting and again that you're gone for good. Think about it, burn your light, I wish I only could. Forget your bonnets that you keep appearing in my dreams like a vision, a decision that's been made as it seems. But don't leave me standing here like an idiot in the rain. Oh, I miss the tender kisses and your lovely smile, and I damn, those are the men who made you say goodbye. Should've known that I'd